Welcome, everyone. This is Erik Malkavian, and I'm here in the Outer Worlds, aboard the Reliable, as Jace Ryder, the Stranger. Let's continue. We're on our way to see the dock. Yes, we are. Going to try to get the lowdown on things. Alright, let's go see Doc.
Now arriving at Phineas's top secret orbital lab.
Floor, NG, blah, blah,
blah. Hello? Can you hear me? Does this work?
Is that a joke?
Oh, damn it, blast, that's loud.
Is that a joke or what? Where the heck are you?
I'm just securing my ongoing experiments. And securing myself.
What do you mean securing yourself?
Mind the mess. I haven't had a visitor since, in fact, I've never had a visitor.
Scrape off electro-fried sprats. What the hell? What the hell are you doing? What? Doc, what the hell are you doing in here? You spent over 4 decades in space with nothing but the technology of this little chamber keeping you alive. The rest of your fellow colonists still trapped in similar chambers, waiting for you to restore them.
Reviving you from hibernation was my greatest accomplishment. Your odds of survival were a mere 28%.
Dehibernation experimentation notes. Raising core temp of another 5 Celsius over 1 hour. Dosage appears to be working. Slight diffs from process in cysty pigs, not beyond expected boundaries. Microscopic assessment shows no sign of sudden traumatic mast cell wall collapse, encouraging. Reminder, still need to mop up pig. What? Need to get a view into the cranium and see what's going on with neurons. Oops, hand slip, likely effects. Nothing important, may have numbness in left heel. Who even needs that? Looking at sample, evidence of hyperactive production of dopamine and norepinephrine. Curious. No evidence of entropic effects on neurons. However, V excited. Now, if only I can keep them from exploding. Raising core temp another 5 Celsius 1 hour. Oops, forgot I had probe and brain. Jostled my elbow with the elbow. such it may suffer numbness right earlobe. Acceptable. Feel ridiculous telling myself mostly frozen slapping. You're doing fine, Jace Ryder. Practicing bedside manner important. Age recovery. Curious about that neurochemical production. Side effects of prolonged hibernation. Subject may experience tachyphasia, uh, tachypsychia, exasperated fight or flight response. Checked brainwave. Found sharp uptick in perceptive cognitive processing when I jostled the probe. Fascinating. Equivalent to speed of common fly's brain. Could be useful in stressful situations. Subjective time dilation. See world moving in slow motion. Would everyone from Hope have this sort of brain damage, or is it peculiar to Jace Ryder? Can't wait to awaken more from Hope study in detail. Is it even right to call this effect brain damage? Seems like enhancement to me. Wouldn't want on call hyper fast cognitive response? Am I envious? To expand the span of a breath to an eternity, be able to just for a moment to perceive the world in all its infinite detail. Core temps up, still stable. No signs of cell wall decay. Neurological necrosis, beginning next 5 Celsius of a 1 hour cycle. Yes, I believe I do envy Jace Ryder. Hibernation the helmet. Um, yeah, gotta steal his stuff. 14, remember it this time. Absolutely vital. 14, 14, 14. What's with all the robots? Sealed. Alright, what's going on here, Doc?
Oh, thank the law. Your skin hasn't spontaneously changed color. Potential side effect of the revival process. Very rare, but you never know. Right. Welcome to my little habitation, such as it is. I've got caffeinoids, cysty bits, if you're into that sort of thing. So, welcome. Make yourself at home. My secret hideout is your secret hideout.
Well, for what it's worth, I appreciate you pulling me out of the Hope.
Not at all, my intrepid accomplice. I should thank you for tolerating my somewhat brusque manner.
Yeah, it is brusque.
I only regret that I couldn't save more of your fellow settlers, what with being hunted by the board, and emptying my supply of necessary chemicals.
Okay, I want to talk to you about something.
Of course. What's on your mind?
Is there some reason you're hiding behind a bulletproof glass?
Oh, it's not you. I do experiments in that room. Some of them get quite scientific. The unexpected is to be treasured, but from a safe distance.
Right.
Regardless, it's quite comfortable in here, you know. I have my beans, have my caffeinoids, plenty of toilet paper.
I don't believe that. Anyway, got a moment to talk?
Absolutely. Let's talk.
Have you met my crew yet?
No, and I've been trying very hard to avoid making eye contact.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Wells. I'm Parvati Holcomb.
Wait, not another word. I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know who you are. Let's just enjoy our plausible deniability while it lasts, shall we? Why don't you just invite the entire colony to my secret, carefully concealed laboratory? It isn't as if I wanted privacy.
Relax, they're with me.
Oh, fine. As long as you're vouching for their character and they aren't touching things. For what it's worth, I am pleased that you found a crew, such as they are. You're a talented scientist, after all. Our kind has always been incredibly popular.
Right. You're right. I'm doing pretty well for myself.
Yes, indeed. Well done. Also, you still haven't spontaneously liquefied, which pleases me immensely. Progress.
Yeah, I hope that's not something I have to worry about. There was something else I wanted to talk to you about.
What's on your mind?
Okay, come.
Absolutely. Let's talk.
Don't you ever leave that lab?
Oh, goodness, no. I wouldn't survive 10 seconds in the blackness of the aether.
Not with the board chasing you.
Well, no, I imagine I'd last at least 12 seconds before I'd lose consciousness and die of hypoxia.
Right. It's not what I meant. Don't you have some sort of life outside your work?
Life outside work? No, of course not. My life is my work. For that matter, everyone else's lives are also my work. An entire colony's worth of lives are at stake. It's up to me, up to us to set things right. To answer your question, I'd rather stay right here in my lab. There's too much work to be done. The Hope's colonists won't revive themselves, you know.
Why are you so obsessed with reviving the Hope's colonists?
Because we've lost our way. The board has a stranglehold over this colony, and we've all been conditioned into total obedience. The Hope is full of specialists, scientists, engineers, talented individuals like you. People who haven't been corrupted by the board. Unfortunately, the Hope's colonists have been frozen for decades, well past your shelf life, so to speak. No offense.
But you revived me, so you must have solved the problem.
Ah, you begin to perceive the truth. Yes, according to the board and their narrow-minded scientists, you should be a pile of organic sludge right now. 10 years. That's how long the average human can remain in hibernation. You were frozen for decades. In theory, you never should have survived the revival process. But the conventional theories are wrong. You're living proof that it can be done. There's yet hope for the Hope. Get it?
Alright. I'm glad to hear that. Everyone in Hope is depending on us.
We'll do our very best to save them all. I'd best get back to work. I can feel my last dose of caffeinoid fading.
He's pretty weird, isn't he?
Something you need?
No. What the hell is Sam? Oh.
Battery levels are fully charged.
Alright. What the hell is he doing with pigs? Communication terminal. Finish V. Wells. Password to AIDS Blights. I worked it out. Explain details later. Be difficult to reproduce. Need your help. All necessary materials to be present in Halcyon, but locations elude me.
Careful, that's my communications terminal.
I just hacked the crap out of it. Extinguish plasma cutter before returning to pocket. Oh my god, are you insane? Alright. Are you still there now?
I hope you're not thinking of ingratiating yourself with the board. Chairman Rockwell and his cronies are not your friends. They might tempt you with promises of wealth, but don't be fooled. They're just using you for their own ends.
I haven't even talked to the board.
What's on your mind?
Never mind. Man. I have to say, Doc, this is one uphill struggle. Where in the heck is the Hope anyway? Alright, well, let's not mess with this place. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Okay, so Salt Dock, Radio Free Monarch. Speak with Noika at Stella Bay. Phineas contacted the broker through a well-known monarch big game hunter named Noika. She frequents a yacht club in Stella Bay, so look for her there. Alright, so we need to buy a dust back. Yeah, we're not doing that. She's nothing but a pirate. Alright. Yeah, we are not doing that. Alright, 1 second. Okay, let's make our way to Monarch. We'll be going there after we stop.
We are now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain. No blockade is a match for my piloting skills.
Well done.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance?
Okay.
See you soon, Captain.
Oh! Oh! Okay, so we're gonna take,
Stay safe out there.
Thank you. Just check something. Monarch Bay. Monarch. Can't see many things. You can transfer. Okay, so we are supposed to Chef Raymond. I assume this is a platform, but where are the controls? It's the logos. Let's go see
Hey,
him.
hold on there. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right?
Seems surprised.
You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off.
So What are they doing out here?
You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic. Us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna and halcyon. Please state your name for the records.
I prefer to travel discreetly, if you know what I mean.
Aw, don't be like that. I never get to do this part. Please.
Fine. Captain Jace Ryder.
Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill.
So is Stellar Bay really that isolated?
We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are Sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago.
Okay. Not what I expected to find the Monarch.
Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly.
Did he just say raptidons and cannibals? I can't wait.
That's what we have on Edgewater. Anyway, are you saying the board's been lying about this place?
Oh, sure. It makes Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell. Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject.
Right.
Kinda goes over my head, though.
Okay, go and look around.
Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you?
Will do.
Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor?
Depends, what is it?
I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tossball poster coming in on the next Sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in?
Who's the Black Hole?
Boss, come on. Black Hole Birdie, the Hole Meister, the Hack Attack.
That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever.
I wonder if he's kin.
Right.
Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got to meet them.
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something?
Why is it called a Black Hole?
On account of him being the best hacker who ever played, nothing gets by him. He sucks up every ball that comes his way.
Maybe word that differently.
Well, Holcomb's had a lot of nicknames over his career. Used to be the tallywhacker on account of what he'd do to the score. Before that, he was the slick stick, because his shots were always so smooth.
You're making this up.
I swear I'm not. At the start of his career, people called him the hack boss, but no one thought that was very catchy.
Alright. I'll ask about your poster.
Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Alright. That's really kind of nasty. Yes, kind of nasty. You guys were here too? Oh, MSI. Okay, so there's the yacht club. Bennett. I'm not gonna bite. Okay. We are going to go get that from Chef Raymond. I guess that's the facility.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
No, I mean more than usual.
Wouldn't know. I made it a point to stay out of her way.
So. Bakery's over here.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
Yeah, I could tell you a ton.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Yep. I am not a murderer. I got those things here too. Alright, so where is Chef Raymond's bakery?
Help! Someone's been killed!
This is a scam.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Pull yourself together and tell me what happened.
I clean the apartments while everyone's at work. I've seen all sorts of messes, but this... If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
No, I'm not going in there. Sounds like a setup to me. Yeah, sure. Walk in there. Hold it. Let me get your pie.
Whoa, by
where
the
am I?
stars, my poor heart. I just about pissed my jumpsuit.
Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you.
Most people don't.
We're used to folks swooning at our feet. You don't gotta be embarrassed.
A healthy survival reflex is nothing to be embarrassed about.
I agree with that.
Besides, this place is enough to try anyone's nerves.
How's that?
Where should I begin? With the oversized mantisaurs? Or perhaps the rats spewing acid at our walls? The board was right. This place isn't fit for human habitation. And I was a fool for staying.
Okay. My engineer's looking to get a dustback casserole. Can you cook one of those?
That was a real popular meal 10, 20 years back. Before the board tucked tail and ran. These days, everybody's had a belly full of salt tuna. They all want borscht. And the mushrooms, well, not many venture out of town, what with the monsters hereabouts. I can whip one up for you, but it'll cost. Here's a menu.
Oh, yikes. I can't cover this much, Captain.
I can cover 3,000 bits. Get started, Chef.
You got it. I got all the ingredients. Should only take about an hour in the oven.
Alright, we'll be back. Oh.
There we are. Now, if you don't mind, I really need to take a leak.
My belly's gurgling just to smell it, Mr. Raymond. Thank you so much.
A pleasure to help such a charming young lady.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
fantastic.
gosh, my tum's rumbling just smelling that casserole.
I know. It's too bad we can't eat it, right?
Where are we headed?
Okay, let's keep going. Hey, Chef.
I see you stuck around.
Why did you decide to stay here in the first place?
Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarch. Rest periods between every work shift. No shift more than 10 hours long.
Wow.
It all sounds wonderful, until you realize there's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel between you and the deadliest creatures in the galaxy.
Okay. Alright, seems like you want more than centimeters.
I could do with a few kilometers of cold vacuum, but that spaceship is flown.
Right, okay. Ever thought about leaving here?
Only every day.
Alright.
But in case you haven't noticed, we don't exactly get ships on a regular basis, yours notwithstanding. And even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with Sublight, Which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goop. What then?
Why don't you just tell me? What does that mean? You forgot stabbed. There's also that possibility.
Well, thank you for reminding me.
Sorry.
As if I weren't already destined for an early grave.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Only every day.
Right.
But in case you haven't noticed, we don't exactly get ships on a regular basis, yours notwithstanding.
Right.
And even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goop, what then?
Why don't you just tell me?
Nothing. That's what. Because MSI is not in what you'd call good standing with the board. So even if I could get out of here, no one's gonna hire me.
Okay. Sounds rough.
Even talking about it has my blood pressure up. I've really gotta stop.
Dig it.
Lucky you.
Yeah. This guy looks like a secret agent. He's probably working for the board. Before I talk to this guy, I'm going to go back and get we're going to walk around a little bit. Then I'm going if we're going so these are the apartments. Yeah, I'm not going in there because that's a trap. I need some armor. Not armor, I mean ammo. Hey.
We don't get many outsiders.
Dig it. Alright, stop it.
If Velma's capable of running the warehouse, she can certainly pick up her own caffeinoid.
Oh.
Don't be so hard on her. With Brax missing, she's working doubles and needs a little edge.
Very well, dearie. But you stop by anytime you like, hmm?
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind.
Hello? Doc?
Hello, dearie.
Oh,
Why, I don't believe I've seen you before. And with sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember. What can Auntie Abigail do for you?
Oh, no. Who's Velma?
She works over at the fishery next door. Quite the hard worker, but she's got a bit of a temper.
Oh, nothing wrong with a little passion.
No disagreement there, dearie. But Velma can be a little prickly. Oh, but here I go again, running my mouth when it's none of my business. Was there something else you needed?
Are you in charge of handing out medicine?
Yes, indeed. Someone's got to keep Stellar Bay's people healthy and energized.
You certainly seem excited about your job.
Oh, but I am. I get to see plenty of my neighbors here, and I do dearly love a little gossip.
Oh, okay, dig it. Okay. Alright, take care. So Pardon? So she hands out medicine. She's a gossip. I thought she was some sort of drug addict or, she was taking her own meds. Oh, this is the fishery. Let's go in here. Let's see if we can. Is that Velma? Well, let's talk to this guy. Hey, can we talk to Velma?
Look, I don't... Oh, sorry. For a second, I thought you were Grim.
No. We were trying to talk to Velma.
Wouldn't mind smelling like Saltuna if we could sell more of it.
Oh, this is a symbol. Oh, that's just the door. Alright, let's go see if we can talk to this Velma. like a vending machine. Ah, she is. Velma.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry.
What are you talking about, Catherine?
Sorry. Seems I got my cables crossed. Thought you were another shakedown tough from Fallbrook.
Oh, one of those
Hope you can
bastards.
forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing.
Your chief what?
Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess.
Don't you have don't you have rules about that sort of thing?
We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit.
These MSI types are living the dream.
Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind?
What's this about your foreman?
Caleb Herrick. Runs the autoloader operators. He thinks I don't pay them enough for flipping switches and turning dials.
So the job's easy, but you're not doing it? Something smells here. I mean, everything smells in here, but something's fishy. Wait.
He and his whole crew walked out. Say they won't come back unless I pay them more.
Unless you pay them, why don't you just pay them more?
Because we've got a budget, all right? And in case you haven't noticed, MSI doesn't exactly have a lot of spare bits on hand.
I can go talk to him for you.
You mind slapping him around a little while you're at it?
I won't do that.
I'm joking. Mostly. Unless you can do it without hurting his job performance.
Sure.
If you can find a way to get him back to work, I'll make it worth your while. Check the yacht club. He's usually there.
Alright, I gotta stop there anyway. You said Braxton had been stealing drugs?
Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts.
Awfully nice of you not to say anything. Why didn't you just turn them in?
We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed.
He's stealing.
Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get this all tuna, fat and mostly tumor-free.
Who's this Catherine you mentioned when I first came in?
Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground 6 spacer.
Alright, and let's talk about Caleb.
Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say.
Alright, why can't you give him...
I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple.
Right, okay.
Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone.
They're harder workers, aren't they?
Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work.
Okay.
I'll wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much.
Alright, I'll talk to him.
If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire sublight contractors at this rate.
Alright, let's talk about something else.
Fine by me.
I'll talk to you later. I don't want to hold her feet to the fire, that sort of thing.
Smells like wrapped in here.
Oh, it does work. I bought some musk from Sebastian to cover up the saltuna smell.
Trust me, this is worse.
Well, let's see something here. talk him into it. It's you two. Alright, so we don't want to go in that apartment because we know he's dead. Yeah, that guy that's in that apartment. Czechoslovakia. Secret people. Alright, let's go talk to Caleb. Who's this? Hello?
Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
Okay. So this place is kind of laid back. Oh, do you think he's in one of those apartments too? No. Okay. So. Oh, they're back over here. So they got mantisaurs. That's Nayoka. We'll talk to her a little bit later. Alright, let's go talk to Caleb. I know Nayoka's waiting to talk to us, but let's go talk to Caleb. Is he in here? Guess so. Alright, here we go. Caleb.
New face, huh?
Yeah.
You from Offworld?
Jace Ryder of the Unreliable.
A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell, and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
Hey, what are you celebrating?
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares.
That's...
Well, as long as we don't run out of bits.
Yeah, there's always that, right?
But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking.
What could be so bad and make you walk off the job?
It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch, we're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay.
Okay, we need to talk about Velma.
Sure thing. What did you want to discuss?
How long can you afford to miss work?
Not forever, but we've each saved up our bits, and I stashed them safe in my home by the diner. I reckon we could last a week or two at least.
Velma's threatening to place you with sublight contractors.
Nope. I'm calling her bluff. If she wants to threaten us, we'll see how she likes it when Sanjar finds out she gave Sublight even more dominion in Stellar Bay.
Well, I'll talk to you later, I guess. I know what to do about that. We'll be back now, Yoka. Now, my lying skills are just not good enough. Damn. Wait skills are great, but just oh, you know what? I forgot. Synchronicity.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace?
You got a lot of brass for a man doing absolutely nothing.
What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place.
What are you talking about?
This law's forgotten town. Cut off from the rest of the colony. Removed from any culture. I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted.
So you miss... But now you all are free from the board.
Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the Iconoclasts over a Raptidon-infested hellhole.
Iconoclast?
Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
Nah. Who in the hell are the Iconoclasts? Well, I guess this is where we need to see Sansa, right?
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Okay. Mr. Nandi.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me.
That's very generous of you.
Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself?
Actually, I'm looking for the information broker.
Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna.
Hey, it could always be... Hey, it could always be for both.
Now, there's no need to humor me. I'm used to this particular letdown.
Okay.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
No.
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but...
Crazy?
It seems we're back to the drawing board.
What exactly are you trying to accomplish?
thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now.
Wow.
Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
Sounds like you're free to anyone else in Halcyon. Why not embrace it?
You talk like Graham.
Can't imagine why you'd sneer at the notion of a free colony. Could it be because you're an agent of the establishment?
I used to be young and idealistic too, but you can't run a city on high-minded ideals.
You make a good point, sir.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Okay.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar? Keep them fed and safe?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
Alright. This lady knows what's going on.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry.
What?
The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
Alright. Fine, but how do you mean to do that?
With a Bolt 52 cartridge, of course.
What the hell is that?
If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Okay, hold on a second. This Bolt 52 sounds useful. But what is it?
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
Are you just talking about a gun?
I was starting to get bored listening to you, until you said the phrase, extremely powerful ordnance.
It is quite the rush.
So where do I find one?
In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. These days it's overrun with marauders and raptors.
Oh, I'll take care of that. Then I guess I'll get your Bolt 52.
Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Yeah, whatever. I'm taking that for myself. Before I go, I need to ask you something, though.
What can I do for you?
I've got some questions about MSI in the good old days.
Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes.
Okay, so how did MSI get kicked off the board in the first place?
I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws.
So you... Well... Okay, so you're getting ahead of yourself again.
You see what I have to deal with?
For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1.
This is Terra 1, okay. Okay. So what happened to the other corporations?
As you may have noticed, this planet has more than its share of hazards.
Oh,
and as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out.
That seems wise.
MSI's leadership at the time certainly thought so. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up.
Very forward thinking of you.
It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers.
I agree with
Even
that.
a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
Word of advice, Sanjar. If Parvati's got something to say, you do well to listen close.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy.
That's true. I understand.
Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms.
Well, I take it your leadership, was us, we, using the board's own tools. Using the board's own tools against them. It was clever.
That's what I thought. But the senior executives laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else.
Yet here you are.
Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages.
Yeah, I've heard that one, the whole smear campaign. Well, I know that's... I shouldn't you have known that you couldn't oppose them, though? Okay, why would they do that? Okay, after I renamed it to Monarch, shouldn't you have known you couldn't oppose them?
But we weren't trying to.
Yes, you were.
Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws.
Of course they did.
Your first mistake was expecting the board to cut you a fair deal.
I understand the sentiment, but if we can't rely on some sort of framework, then what do we have?
They just cut and run.
I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently.
So why exactly do you want back on the board?
Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
I know.
Yeah, and once you go back to him, they'll own your dignity too.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community. And being cut off means slow strangulation.
I understand. I can't fault you for your practicality. You know,
Indeed. We've got to consider realities, not ideals.
I agree.
If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Leverage? Oh, the bolt.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes. It'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations.
Are you trying to take over the board? Are you nuts? What's the hazard clause?
It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments.
And they've invoked it on Monarch.
Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way.
Right. You don't seem to think much of this Graham.
He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them.
They sound pretty bad. What are they doing?
It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels and pushes us further from the rest of the colony.
So, what's the downside?
Shall I begin with the supply shortages or the subtle but constant threat of annihilation? He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
Right.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
What can I do for you?
I met Grim, the landing pad guard.
I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff?
He did a bang-up job.
Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review.
Excellent.
What else can I do for you?
I have to go. All right. Well, we've gotten ourselves into a interesting pickle. I have one person that hates the board, I have one person that loves the people, and let's talk to Miss Celia. Hello, Miss.
Greetings, and welcome
Sorry
to
to
Monarch
disturb.
Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
What was that exchange about? Are you having money troubles?
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid.
Do you normally blow your money on Raptidon parts?
Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really.
What? If you got that many bits to spend, then I got some trash to sell you.
Oh, I don't need any of it. It's also I can talk to Sebastian. He doesn't get going about much else.
Okay.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
Dig it.
He's sort of the strong, silent type.
Are you crazy?
Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff. And some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell.
Just ask him for a date.
I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask.
What?
Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work.
Wait, I'm curious. What is he in this bathroom?
He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about.
That's crazy.
Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
That's you really want someone you can't talk
You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny.
Anyway, that's all I need
Sorry,
to know.
sometimes I get carried away.
Okay, bye. I'm gonna have you ask him. I really don't want to feel like doing that. That sounds, ugh. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Well, I'm going to do it. Am I going to do that? I don't know. That sounds, yes. Yeah. The Grim check, let's see here. Status of Grim's poster? That's what I wanted to ask her about. Celia?
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say?
Not yet. Grim asked me to check with you about his toss ball poster.
You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago.
Okay.
I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grim wore her patience thin a long time ago.
Alright, thanks. I'll do that. Alright, well, I can't talk to Velma right now because I'm still trying to work that out with her, with these freelancers on the roof. Wow.